Hi guys, this is a lesson about improvisation from the perspective of the scales, not necessarily what you might think. So this is like all things you are. Okay, so this is kind of part of how I play, and what I want to teach today is improvisation from the perspective of the scales. I know there's a lot of videos out there, stop playing scales, and I totally understand why you want to get into the chords, but today I want to show you something deeper about the relationship between the scales and the chords you're playing on. Let me explain it in the following way. If you take any three notes of the C major scale, like C, like this is an intervallic structure with the notes C, D, and E. If you analyze all these collections of three notes, you will reach the following conclusion. They can only make 5 chords, 1, 3, 5, or 1, 3, 7, or 1, 5, 7, or 1, 3, 9, or 1, 5, 9. Let me show you what I mean. Let's take, for example, any collection of random notes, C, F, G. So if you allow the root to be anything, either the C or the F or the G, you'll find that that's actually an F chord. Now, this is very, very important for improvisers because sometimes if I'm playing on a song, I'm not thinking about each chord separately. I'm not doing this, which is also important and fun. Sometimes I'll be doing this. Which means I'm only thinking about an intervallic shape, in this case 1, 3, 5, and moving it around. And let me show you how to think about this. Let's go to the Harmonic Explorer, where I have this course, and take a look at how this is structured so you can understand the deeper meaning of what I'm saying right now. Okay, so look. Let's go in the course to the courses page. Okay. And you'll find in the courses page something called the 3-note intervallic structure. And I'll press begin. Look what the contents actually is. So I'll view the activities for the intervallic shapes in the key of C major. What this does is it shows you all the chords that can be created in C major. And if you look very carefully, it's essentially any intervallic structure that's possible. 1, 2, 3 is like the notes C, D, E on all sets. 1, 2, 4 is like the notes C, D, F. And for example, 1, 3, 4 would be the notes C, D. I'll do another one. 1, 3, 1, 4, 5, for example, would be C, F, G. Now, what are these strange activities? So if you go through the whole thing on all sets, it looks like this. Let's do it on the top strings. Okay, I'll do 1, 4, 5 as an example. So when you press play, what you'll be served is the intervallic shape 1, 4, and 5, which is simply a starting note, a fourth, and a fifth. So it sounds like this. And then the application will teach you that to think of this as a chord. So every time you play this intervallic structure, the application says, if you look at the bottom bar, it says you're playing the 5, the 1, and the flat 9. It tells you which scale degree you are on, if you are in C major, and you do this. So the first thing you're thinking about is how each combination of three diatonic notes is actually some kind of chord. It tells you what the root is, because the root is not necessarily the one, as I said before. Most unintuitively, for example, D, G, E is actually C9 because it's 1, 5, and 9. Now let me show you a second deep concept, how this relates to the topic of this video, improvising on songs. And if I go to the application, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, for example, that intervallic shape. Let's do that 1, 2, 5, like an intervallic shape. That's this. Okay? And looks, I think, at something kind of interesting. So if I'll go in the application to the Song Lab, which is an area where I can absolutely load any intervallic shape I would like. Here I am going to Improvisation, Song Lab, and what I'm going to select as a phrase is the phrase, see I have intervallic shapes. I'm going to take the shape, 3-note intervallic shape. Let's do 1, 2, 5. And let's do this on All the Things You Are, just for fun, okay? So what are you going to see? First of all, this is how I would practice this. Let's start on the note D, just for fun. One very important skill, in my opinion, is knowing how that intervallic shapes moves on a song. So I'm on All the Things You Are. You can see that my notes are D, E, and A. And the first skill is just applying the chord scale. I can right-click here and see the chord scale for every chord. And what I'm doing is I'm just changing the flats and sharps as I go along. This is very hard to do, but it serves me a lot when I improvise because I don't necessarily want to start a new idea every time the chord changes. That will sound like this. Multiple ways to do this. The key is that I know okay, so that helps me a lot if I can know how to take an intervallic shape with a starting note, a second, and a fifth, to know how to start it anywhere and see how it is affected by the chord scales. Let's take another example from A, just for fun. Okay, so from any starting point of the 7 notes, the 7 pitches, I can simply apply the accidentals. So that's how the first way that scales affect improvisation, okay? Now let me show you the second way, which is harder. This is what I call a intervallic shape. And what I told my application to do is to advance. So if I have this shape, I think of it as an independent will. Okay, and I use this a lot. The idea is that I know how the shape travels throughout a song, and this is a very, very useful skill. So here you can listen to this shape advancing on All the Things You Are, like this. And if I'm not happy with a chord scale, I can always adjust it. Like this, if I don't want Lydian, I'd like Lydian augmented, or whatever I feel like, Ionian. So it allows me to choose my chord scales and tensions. So now, how would you practice this using the Harmonic Explorer? You would go here to the courses, and once you do like the intervallic shapes, I mean studying all these shapes and all these keys. I know this is a lot of, in my opinion, very, very important and difficult work. You go here and you learn all combinations of 3 notes on all string sets and how they work in context, and then you can start improvising. Let me feature how I use this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the things you are. I'm going to ask the application to give me just pretty standard comping, and I'll improvise a little and show you how these ideas come into play in my own work. So here goes. So I can go to my song library, open, let's do all the things you are. That's the one we want. Okay, and I'm going to take this pretty standard comping. This is like a regular, okay, something like that. And I'm going to start soloing over this. Something like, yeah, that's 133. And I'm going to use this shape that I taught you before, that 125. Here it goes. Okay, so let me summarize what I've said here. I've said I can use the perspective of the scale when doing my improvisational activities, and the way to do it is to take the scale, break it down into these intervallic structures, practice them, understand their harmonic identities, and then practice them as they move through a song or as they stay in one place and adjust their accidentals. So just go to the Harmonic Explorer into the intervallic structures part and try to do the course. It's it was very, very valuable for me. Thank you for watching, guys.